Hello and welcome to Screen Views. I'm Dave.
I'm James.
And this is the weekly podcast where we give our views on a film and TV show.
Each episode is unscripted, unedited, so anything can happen. Listeners should be aware that we do include spoilers, so feel free to fast forward, rewind, or simply buckle up and enjoy a somewhat coherent conversation.
Our podcast is based on the idea that there's no such thing as a bad movie. Therefore, for every review, we'll give a recommendation instead of a rating.
But first up, we're going to have a quick discussion about what we talked about last week to see if our opinions have changed. Boom, boom, boom.
Hello.
We're back.
Here we are.
Sunny. It's time to talk about TV. I saw good. I've got things around my neck which are making noise, which every single podcast
you have to strip
slowly,
off. Yeah. I have to try and fill the gaps whilst you're stripping off.
Yeah.
Obviously not all your clothes, because that would be weird.
Because always leave my socks on. I think that's the rule of thumb.
Always leave your socks on when podcasting.
Yeah.
Good rule of thumb for those podcasters out there.
Yeah, any fresh podcasters.
Yeah.
Thinking, how do we do it? It's
just
amazing.
Keep your socks on and you'll be fine.
I told a couple of people we do podcasts, and they at first they didn't really register, but now they started to ask questions like, so how do you edit them, and how do you get them ready, and how many do you do? And
do you say we don't edit them?
Yeah,
we don't script it. We don't edit it. We just wing it.
Yeah, yeah. If anyone says no, you guys are clearly scripting it, okay, then we'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah,
if you think.
Yeah.
I
I think that's better scripted. That's a better compliment if someone says, "Oh yeah, you script it," rather than "You really don't script it, do you?" Just amateur. We'll try and keep it profesh anyway.
Yeah. But we so the last time, it's been a while. We're gonna get back on it.
On the TV train.
Well, last time it was the mini soap, but before that, the last full TV show we did was Happy.
Yes.
And you watched the first episode?
I did, yes.
And that was a season. It wasn't fully positive. I said I might go back and look at the styles and maybe look at the comic book, but I've not really been interested in looking at the comic book or the style of anything.
Yeah, it's difficult to get motivated when you're not that excited about something to do that additional research, isn't it?
I mean, there's other TV shows based on comic books, which I think like Preacher. Preacher's quite an interesting one to look at a comic book and look at the TV show because they're so very different, so very the same. But I've got no interest in comic book. Comic book would probably be awesome actually with this. Actually, looking at the elements involved, comic book would probably be amazing, but this hasn't really sold to me very well. Yeah,
you're a much better judge on that sort of thing because I read no comic books whatsoever. So
I tried to read comic books. I've got a subscription to Marvel Unlimited, so I could read thousands of comic books. But I go through probably about 3 months a year of reading comic books, and in them months I've said to myself, "Look, you're paying for this, James. Just read comic books and enjoy them, and until that'll be January, and then nothing, and then maybe July, August I'll do it, and then maybe October I'll do it." But I don't really read comic books as much as I should.
It's difficult the subscription-based era that we're in.
Yeah,
it is sort of difficult in a sense where you just sort of your constant thing at the back of your mind is I've got to get my money's worth, or at least mine is. Yeah. And then you're like, if I'm not using it, why am I paying for it? Yeah. And and then you sort of set yourself challenges, and you don't you're not doing something because you enjoy it. You're doing something because you want to get your money's worth. And
we should treat all subscriptions like it's the 1 week free trial. Every 1 week free trial we've used the babies up to
you don't stress about it. That's the point, because it's free. It's got that free label. You don't stress about not using it or not using it because it's free.
No, when I have a 1 week free trial, I drain that to perfection.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. When I sign up for something, I get a 1 week free trial. It's never been used as much as
ever again.
Yeah.
And then you forget to cancel the subscription, and then you've paid for
done that a few times.
6 months, but you've only used it for the one free trial month.
I've it's like going into an all-you-can-eat buffet. So I'm going to show that buffet what I'm going to that buffet never even seen me before. It's not going to survive.
Yeah, I think that's called getting your money's worth.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Although in this digital world, I don't know, it's really hard to accumulate. What are you paying for? What are you?
Well, TV and film.
Yeah, but
unlimited access to information that entertains you.
So there was cinema, and cinema was like it's an environment, and you go in there and you're paying for the experience.
Yes.
And then it was like DVD and video and that sort of quality in your home.
And also the bonus features as well.
Yeah,
that you didn't get with VHS.
Which you don't get anymore in terms of like not as much. When you buy stuff digitally, you sometimes get bonus features, but you sometimes don't.
Yeah, I think you like. Well, it's because they always release special editions and stuff, don't they?
But then also, I think nowadays when you can watch a full HD movie for free on like YouTube, I don't know. It's the value of paying for stuff. It's gone down in terms of media.
Yeah, it's changed, and it's like it's evolving, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think what is interesting is like a lot of the big companies are trying to bring out their own stuff, aren't they? So like Disney do streaming, HBO do streaming, and then the problem that you have then is that we've been quite lucky for a while that sort of Netflix, Amazon Prime, there's like a few central places to access everything.
Yeah.
But if the more and more the companies start doing their own streaming services, the more and more things are going to get sort of split into fractional sort of things. So I can see in the future it becoming a bit more of an issue because you then have to be a loyal customer to something. Yeah. You then have to make a decision who you are. Oh, I'm a Disney subscriber. Oh, I'm a HBO subscriber. You know, they're like you creating like fractions.
Well, you mentioned Disney.
Yeah,
that's quite interesting because now they bought up. So Disney now own all of Marvel. They own all Star Trek, and they bought Fox. Their streaming thing, they've got a lot of background, a lot of fan things to go to, and so once that's up and running, they've got a strong subscription base. We're going to see any Marvel stuff on Netflix anymore? Are we going to see
possibly
any
not.
Fox films on Netflix anymore? You want to stream Simpsons? Like that's a big quantity. You want to stream any series of Simpsons? They could turn to Disney. Like.
Yeah, it's a difficult one.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that's the other end of it. When one company buys up everything, they end up dictating the terms eventually, don't they?
Yeah.
So you do have a central place then, but you know it's not competitive pricing because there's no competitors.
I remember when Disney bought Miramax, they said they were going to ditch it, but I swear I keep seeing, every now and again I keep seeing a Miramax film, but it doesn't feel like a Miramax film. A Miramax film used to feel edgy, and now I don't know,
sort of feel like they had their day.
Yeah, I used to look out for Miramax films, but
like the Weinstein.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we actually talk about some TV?
Yeah.
So this week we're doing Arrested Development.
Yeah. We skipped over like Happy very quickly. I've no intention of seeing it again.
I think we both agreed on that.
I think that was in the sidelines. So
I think we need to move on.
Yeah.
But the podcast is out there if you want a bit more of a sort of detailed review, as it were.
Yeah. So Arrested Development, yes, it's an interesting one. One thing, do you want to talk about it? I know you're very excited about it.
Well, yeah. So, maybe I'll introduce it, and then you can. We'll see what you think, because obviously, any sort of avid listeners will have heard how I feel about this show quite a few times. So Arrested Development, it's a sitcom. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Situation comedy.
Yeah.
And it's available on Netflix, but I think it was a 20th Century Fox initially.
I think so.
And then, so it had 3 seasons, and it got cut or canned or whatever. Went away for a bit, and then came back for the 4th season on Netflix, and now they just released the 5th season on Netflix.
Cool.
It's about a dysfunctional family in America, Newport Beach, I think, in America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the beach.
Yeah, that's what I can remember. And so it's about a dysfunctional family, and the first series sort of starts off with the father going to prison, and how the son deals with managing the company, but also his dysfunctional family.
Yeah, that's a good good
overview.
Yeah, I think like every family, everybody's messed up in some way, and I think one of the interesting things about this is that even though who's the main guy? Who's
Michael Bluth.
Michael Bluth. It's sometimes it's really nice to see that he's sort of ignorant to his own problems sometimes, but the audience isn't sort of ignorant to everybody being in this family. He's also sort of messed up, and he's also doubting himself, and he's also
he's sort of like presented as the sane one, but you realise quite quickly that he's got his own
and it's something which the whole family starts to take the mick out of him by like season by season by season. The family has become self-aware of him. They've always been self-aware, but they make it clear that they're self-aware in terms of the audience as well. Saying, "Oh, Michael always goes away, and Michael always does this, and Michael
there's been quite a few jokes about that, especially in the fifth season."
Well, I think one thing which the show does really well is the planted joke. It's like it has a list of jokes in the beginning season, and they realise, well, we don't want to keep hammering home this joke, so we'll stop this for now for like a season or two, and then we'll hint this joke again later on, and hint this joke later on, and hint this joke later on. I think it's really clever in terms of they have like a checklist of certain jokes which we'll use all the time, because I kept thinking there's a Charlie Brown walkaway thing, and there's one episode where it was full of that, and then every now and again they'll bring it up. But there's so many instances where they could do that all the time, but they don't do it all the time. I thought that's quite good. They can very easily what am I trying to say? They could quite easily make this film oversaturated with the same jokes.
Yeah, so they could. I think it does a good job of like hitting the right line between being self-referential, but not annoyingly so. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no.
Because you're right. If they did it every time there was an opportunity to do the sad walk, and they did it, it wouldn't be sort of funny anymore.
Yeah, it'd just be, hey, remember this whole thing? We're bringing it back. And like, it used to be just one character, and then it used to be just George Michael, and then throughout the series, they put it in different characters.
Yeah.
I thought the timing of this show is sort of perfect. Sort of the Community effect. Community was like a 20-minute thing, and so really good just to get it out there, just to watch one after the other. I binged this show, and so I really appreciated how spread out the jokes were, because when you're binging it an episode by episode by episode, if you got the same joke in every single episode, it becomes very, very clear and very so.
Yeah.
From a binging point of view, I appreciated how the jokes were spread out. It took me a while to realize that I liked this show. To be honest, took me a good like.
Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure. I know you said that you thought you had doubts that I might not like it because of like the self-referential and. Because with the
narrator as well,
I felt like it wasn't patronising. I felt like Jane the Virgin, it was patronising, and it's always. I only watched 2 episodes, and the amount of times they draw back, they go back and back and back, and they just don't treat the audience with respect in terms of like, because it's a very simple linear story, but I think with this TV show, it's a very multicast show, and they have got multiple storylines.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I mean, I don't need a helping hand, but I can understand some of the main audience can use that helping hand to say, hey, but you remember, like, this might not go right because of this story over here. Because they were doing this. And I didn't really, and so I didn't think it was that necessary in the first 3 series. Yeah, not necessarily in the first 3 series, but like we're probably gonna have a whole talk about the 4th season later on. But that was much needed. I don't know if it was much needed. It was just everywhere. You'll be on one storyline. The storylines were just. Let's just. I'm gonna hand over you for a while. That fourth season really, really annoyed me.
Well, yeah, I mean, so the fourth season, we can just talk about it now because. So the fourth season, I think viewers should be, or listeners to this podcast, might want to be aware that the fourth season was the first one on Netflix, and there was a bit of a gap between season 3 and season 4. But what is interesting is on Netflix now, the season 4 is a re-edited version of season 4.
Yeah.
So you've actually seen the better version of season 4. So I've seen season 4 3 times now. I've seen it more than any other season, and it is by far the worst season. But I think it's the problem occurred because the show. So a lot of the actors, like Jason Bateman, Michael Cera, Will Arnett, David Cross, like a lot of the characters in the show and a lot of the actors, the show sort of had cult status and kind of launched a lot of the careers of those people that I've just sort of mentioned in passing, and so they then went off to do a lot of big things. Like Jason Bateman was in a lot of movies after this. Will Arnett had loads of projects. Michael Cera obviously did loads of like teen stuff. And so what happened, I think, with season 4 is they tried to film it at a time when everybody's schedule was like really, really busy. And so I think it's obvious that the characters aren't in the same rooms together a lot. Yeah. And when it first hit, what they did with season 4 is they had each episode focused on a different character. So you'd have like a George Bluth episode, you'd have a George Michael episode, you'd have a Tobias episode, or a Buster episode, and so they split it like that, and it kind of didn't work. No. So they've re-edited it now, so it does flow a bit more, and I think that they've put a lot of like a better jokes in, or they've made some bits better. Some bits aren't. There's the odd occasional joke where I'm like, oh, that was actually funnier in season 4. Bit of a spoiler, but that's okay because we're including a spoiler. Yeah. But at the end of season 4 where George Michael punches his dad. Yeah. That I think was actually funnier the first time they did it, because the first time they did it, he just sort of like punched him and it cut quite quickly. But this time I think it's sort of like, but maybe I'm just making stuff up in my head, like false memories. But yeah, I think there was definitely moments that were a little bit funnier the first time. But overall, the re-edited version that you get now is much, much better than it was. But it's still the worst season. So
yeah, I guess what I like about all the other season is that the multi-stranded storyline sort of twist and turn within an episode. Yeah, and in this one is the twist and turn within a series, and so sometimes I forget about whole storylines, and then there's like 6 minutes of catch up, so I found, especially binging it, thinking, because I don't need a. I was like fast forwarding, like, and I remember like 6 or 7 minutes of the whole episode is just catch up, and this was doing this, and they were doing this, why they.
Yeah, I have noticed that. Like, because what we did was we watched season 4 because we hadn't seen the re-edited one in preparation for season 5. And then the first episode of season 5 is about a 10-minute catch up of season 4. So if there's anybody out there who's listening to this and you are like an avid watcher of Arrested already, and you thinking, I need to see season 4 again, you don't, because that recap is there and they pretty much go over everything at the start of season 5. So I would say you don't actually need to go and watch that revisited one. It is better, but it's not so much better that I'm like, oh my god, I need to I'm glad I watched it. It's only marginally better for me. But yeah, if you were going to rank the seasons, season 4 is definitely the worst. then followed by season 5 probably, which we should probably talk about.
Yeah. So it's not fully finished. Is it coming out on a weekly basis? It didn't feel like I watched the whole season 5, but it didn't feel like the end.
No. So they've released eight or 9 episodes of season 5 so far, and then it just says on Netflix more episodes coming soon.
Gotcha.
So there's normally, I think, about 20 odd episodes.
So I'm wondering what happened to Paul T. Da Rossi, Lindsay, the sister, because she's hardly in the last season.
Season 5.
Yeah, and part of me thinks, oh, maybe it's part of a storyline, but because it's so it's being so prominent now, and they haven't linked her whatsoever, maybe she's just not available, and is the actor just not available to act?
Maybe. That's funny because I've not noticed that, other than I've noticed a couple of scenarios where I'm like, hang on, they've like green screened her into this scene.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's something there that we need to research a little bit.
I saw a big backlash on her look between season 3 and season 4.
Yes.
A huge backlash on. Well, I think it's really funny how they handle time. And sort of like, and like how they handle George Michael going like, oh my god, I feel so terrible. You look like well, I think Will Arnett said something like, I'm really sorry for betraying you. Like the stress has aged you dramatically. And like just an inside joke to say like, well, he's a lot different now to like a second ago.
Yeah, I like, but I like that if you got the so there's a lot of in jokes. So I think what this show does well is it rewards viewers who are paying attention with the in jokes all the time, and then there's the kind of obvious jokes that are just funny, and then what it also does is it makes reference to outside of the show as well. Transparent.
Yeah, that's I noticed that reference.
Yeah, that's quite an obvious one.
Yeah,
but there's if you notice there's quite a lot with Tobias Fuke and David Cross, because there's a long story. Well, not a long story. He was up for the role of Dr. House.
Okay.
So there's a lot of jokes every so often about him, and not getting that part.
Yeah.
And so, there's quite a few like sort of outside jokes about that as well.
I bet there's loads, but I just
there's it's so clever in the way that it does like those sorts of things, because a lot of it is quite subtle. So again, it's one of those shows that rewards somebody who does their research on the jokes. Yeah. So you can sort of like point them out and like go, oh hey, yeah, that's this and that's that, and oh that's funny because of it's like so clever and stuff. I mean, like one of my favourites is there's always money in the banana stand. I mean, that's not an inside joke, but
it's like it's obvious, but
it's kind of like not obvious.
I don't know. I started really. I realized I got addicted to it, and I realized that because every episode is so short, it's sort of like I'm just gonna get through this. And I really liked Will Arnett's character,
Joe,
and his relationship with Michael, because they do love each other. They do actually really care about each other, but they just forget it so quickly. They just lose sight of it so quickly, and it's sort of like, it's like they just remind. And when they remember, they love each other completely, and it's sort of like, yeah. And I thought that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts was the funniest part was the sex offenders. Basically, you've got the kid sort of jumping into the pool, and the camera follows him, and he jumps into the pool. There's loads of sex offenders everywhere as he's jumping into the pool. The camera goes underwater. When the camera comes up the water, everyone's gone. Yeah. I thought that was a really, really funny joke. And I also really liked when they're in a courtroom and someone tells the camera person to get out, and I thought that was kind of cool. I think I was told there was another point where they were self-referential in terms of the camera people, but I couldn't see that as much. Oh yeah, when you actually saw a camera person in shot. Yeah, there was one time when you actually saw a camera person. It was the prison scene when the mum's in prison, and she turns to another camera documentary people.
Oh right.
And says, "Are you getting this?" And you can see on the main camera people. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just so much to talk about the show. It's really hard to. I should have done an itinerary.
Yes.
Of like.
Yeah. So like.
I still don't know what's happened to Lucia number 2. I know that's
part of the.
Is this this
mystery
season or?
No, season. I think it starts in season 4, but they're carrying that over into season 5.
That's the one I get annoying. Is annoying me a little bit.
But she's played by Liza Minnelli, isn't she?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So there are some like people who were famous that are in it.
Oh, it's a great cast. It really is. It's I mean, Ron Howard's in it.
Yeah.
You got Dallas Boward Howard, Izzy Fisher.
You got like cameos like Henry Winkler. He's the lawyer. Harry.
Yeah.
He was also Fonzie, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
And then there's I can't remember his name, but there's Bob Loblaw as well.
Oh yeah. And also the condition with I think the little joke which I really like at the moment is the daughter of the guy who has no hair. She's also got the same condition.
Yes. Yeah.
And I love the way that isn't a full-on joke at the moment.
Yeah,
it's sort of like you can see it to the side, and there'll be a couple of scenes where he'll be giving her advice. But I love the fact that it's not a joke at the moment. I hope it isn't a joke. I hope the punchline of that joke is sort of off screen.
Yeah, I think it comes out every so often. I mean, I'm a little bit worried for season 5. Just as you were talking there, I was thinking about one of the episodes. They kind of stop the episode and they go into like a black and white movie.
Well, yeah, that's the last episode I saw.
I didn't think that was funny at all. I didn't really get it.
I don't get it. I don't think it was funny at all. However, if I've learned anything from
Arrested Development?
No, not Arrested Development. It's not Luther. Legion.
Right.
Is that experiment, but if it doesn't work, don't repeat. By all means, they can experiment. By all means, as long as it's not a running thing. That didn't work that time. They tried it. It's not going to work. It's fine.
Yeah. But so there are bits that are, aren't. It's not like laugh a second, laugh a minute. But it's good enough that
you are rewarded for paying attention. I think the biggest laughs are the ones which aren't obvious.
Yeah,
it's sort of like,
all the ones that you get that other people aren't getting, and then you have to like stop and explain to people, well, this is funny because of this and this and this and this, and then you feel empowered by that. There's
also the unexplained stuff. Like right now, George Michael took up self-defense lessons. But because like they had this whole confrontation after the hit, next time we see each other like a year later on, they like do like some like samurai stuff in the hallway.
I thought that was quite funny because Michael Bluth has been, he's started working for Search, which is like joking around Google.
Yeah,
and he's like, in one scene, he's like, oh, so is this not family defense? And the guy's like, like can't understand why he wants to defend himself against his own family. So there's a whole joke around that. But then like a couple of like scenes later or a couple of episodes later, he's then taking the self-defense, family defense class in the company, and it's like it's quite good.
I am.
So I am enjoying season 5. I think.
Yeah.
More than season 4.
I'm Steve Holt.
Steve Holt.
Yeah, they're not really doing that much with his character. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Because we never really he's got potential of being. He's not a good character yet, but he's got the characteristic. You throw him inside the hellhole of a family, and I reckon you can get some good stuff out of him. But I don't know. They seem to just they've diluted the character quite a lot.
Yeah, and they haven't sort of fully explored him and Job. They sort of started to do that a bit in season 4, and you thought it was going to be like a big thing. Yeah. But then Job runs off with the singer-songwriter guy instead. Yeah.
I thought the joke of reenacting the statue of the father statue, that genius. Was quite fun. Like multiple times.
Yeah, yeah. And I love the Simon and Garfunkel, or is it just Paul Simon? The "Hello, darkness, my old friend."
Yeah.
Pauses with Job. They're quite funny.
I don't think I've noticed the link yet. And he stopped listening to what people are saying, and
he just sort of zones out. I think that's just a running joke. I don't think there's necessarily a.
Yeah, I love the idea that I love Ben Stiller with just a picture cameo in the first season. I love the way they've got their mates just to say, just going to just get you'll like this a little bit, and then slowly more and more they just go in more and more. Yeah,
and he actually comes in. Did somebody say wonder?
Yeah.
No. Brilliant. Well, part of the show, what makes it great is the characters.
Yeah.
Like, how they're just ridiculous, but believable at the same time, which is like
they're unwilling to change in moments of. They're unwilling to progress and learn. So every victory is a short-term victory and not a long-term victory. They always default back to, which can be quite a dangerous thing in terms of the sitcom. But I think it works well in this one. Yeah, you think
that it would that lack of progression would stop getting funny.
Yeah,
but it's almost like it you sort of know, you can see what's coming. Who's your favourite character?
That's gonna have to be the cousin, because she lives in a whole of a world. So I can't maybe, yeah. I think she just lives in a whole of a world. She's like the cleverest out of all of them.
But she's also the laziest as well.
I don't know if she's the laziest, because I think she can con herself into a very busy. So when she loved the fact that she conned her way into the movie industry, and then she realised she'd just do proper work.
That's what I mean by her being lazy. Yeah. She's like, oh, this is.
But she became at first she was lazy, but then I got the impression she actually worked really hard. She's one of the hardest working people.
Yeah, I get what you mean, because she works really, really hard to get attention from Tobias and Lindsay.
Yeah,
but never actually achieves that. So she tries something else, and that doesn't work. So she'll try something else, and it's quite good. I mean, one character we've not talked about is Buster, who's played by. Yeah. So he's played by Tony Hale, who was the headmaster in Love, Simon.
Yeah. He's my favourite moment of him is and that's why you don't trick. That's why you don't need to say what people as pranks.
I like that. And that's why you always leave a note.
Yeah.
The line as well.
I think he very rarely gets a win. So when he does, it's sort of I'm really happy for him. And I know he just wants a mother. He doesn't really care who his mother is.
Yeah.
He just wants that. He just wants to be a child forever.
I think Tony Hale does a genius job.
Well, I want to see him go into, hopefully, has he joined up for the army again?
I don't know.
No. Well, he keeps going back. I want to see him in the army, on the front line. I want to see people think that he's a genius when he's actually an idiot. Yeah. But yeah, I like the little hints about Saddam Hussein's house being the same as their house.
Yes, that
Because that was just
storyline's very
sprinkled
good as well.
throughout, like very, really nicely done. And
yeah. I think the Seal storyline has done quite well with Buster as well.
We just keep coming back, and it keeps like, yeah. And I didn't get where the seal came from at first. I thought that was really confusing. I didn't because it was mentioned and not seen. The first time we see a seal is when the seal bites off Buster's arm. So even though Joe's wife said she was with seals, and even though you said like he's got a magic trick, and you never actually saw the seal, and so I didn't put the two things together.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, it's that rewarding. Because anyway.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm hoping this is the last season. Not in a horrible way, but I think I don't want to hate her.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, for me, it's like, the first 3 seasons got quite a big cult status, and I sort of feel like I came into the show like before it got the massive cult status.
Yeah.
So I just, I watched it when I was like 15, 16, and it's just that a friend had found out about it and stuff, and and it's sort of like, so I think like I'd love the show to just keep going forever. Like I can't get enough of it. And I think it is that, that is the main reason. Like I understand what you're saying, that there's only sort of so far that you can go with characters, especially characters who don't develop or progress. So yeah, I can get why you would want it to end, but
one thing which I really enjoy is, it was a bit annoying in its first episode, but every episode since then it's been really good because it's been out of nowhere. It's the Gene Parmesan.
Oh, yeah. Parmesan.
Parmesan. Is that how you say it?
Gene.
It's I thought that was quite funny because these guys are so rubbish.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking at your IMDb.
Yeah. I've got the IMDb up of everybody's names. And
Scott Baio, who plays blah blah blah.
Yeah. It's I thought Terry Crews was interesting. I really liked the way he thought he was banging a hooker, and she had like no idea. And I do like the way what's the sister's called? I do like the way she's I love and hate the way the mother talked to her.
Well, Lindsay.
Always, it's always horrible. Like even when you think it's nice, it'll just be something horrible afterwards. And I loved that when you found out that she was older than Michael, and she was like adopted. Michael, and she's like trying to sleep with Michael, and Michael just goes.
Yeah, that's right. That reminds me. Is that not why she's disappeared? Because she said she's going to find her own parents.
Did you know she's running for office, and then all of a sudden no one can find her?
Because she had a thing with her mum, and she said, "I'm going to go and find my birth parents."
Damn.
So that might be a reason why she's not around at the moment. It's probably also a scheduling thing, but that's there anyway.
I know what the answer's going to be. Figured it out. So George Michael and the cousin are gonna get together, knowing that they're not related at all, and then Lindsay's gonna find out that her mum was one of the affairs her dad had grown up.
Yeah,
and
probably.
they are actually cousins. Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping that's not it, because that would have been a good reveal. But
we'll see.
Yeah. Because maybe he's really obsessed with George Michael now because he's learned how to kiss. That's the only reason why
that was good.
She didn't like
that was another like sort of outside joke, because there was the whole storyline about him going to Spain and growing a mustache and becoming a man.
Yeah.
And I think that was a reference that he did to a film that he did where he wears a mustache. I can't remember what it's called. It's a really good film. But that's like a reference to
you got
that.
You got did like dissociative identity disorder, like the two versions.
Yeah,
of
there was like a split. A teenager who developed a split personality.
Yeah,
and sort of had these.
Youth of Revolt.
Yes,
yeah,
that's the one. Yeah, well done.
I've not seen it, but yeah,
it's good. It's a really good film. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's like a reference, because in that, the character with the moustache is like this real badass, kid that just does what he wants. So that's like a kind of reference to that.
No. I didn't like. I got really annoyed with the Maggie Lizer blind lawyer episode.
Oh really?
Yeah, only because the first episode had no indication that she wasn't blind. I just felt like these put lines aren't working for me. I don't like the fact that you're taking the piss out of blind people. I don't like the fact that, like, as soon as she takes off glasses, she's just like she's cross-eyed, and I just felt the jokes were really slapstick and poor and stupid. Okay. I think on reflection with the second episode, when you find out she's not actually blind, and this is what somebody does to behave like they're blind, it sort of is very forgiving and very funny.
Right. Okay.
And so I don't hate the show for it, because it's sort of like as a part of an inside thing, but because I didn't find it funny, and I still didn't change my reaction to the first episode.
Yeah.
Okay. The woman who played Joe's girlfriend in the first series, which Michael falls in love with, she is the mummy in the Mummy film, in the original Mummy film with Brendan Fraser.
Oh right.
So yeah, a little inside thing.
Okay.
There. Yeah. I listened to a podcast about it, and yeah, thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah. A podcast about the Mummy or Arrested Development.
Yeah, about the Mummy.
All right. Yeah. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
It's I realised that we didn't finish like ranking seasons.
No.
But I think for me, season 2 was my favourite.
Yeah.
Followed by season 1, then season 3, and then a bit hard to tell yet between season 5 and season 4. But what I've seen so far, I think season 5 is going to be better than season 4.
Season 2, definitely my favourite.
Yeah.
Followed by season 3. I don't know, I'm getting all mixed up because I binged them. It's all,
yeah. Well, season 3, there's a lot of jokes about them getting cut, which is quite good. There's a lot because, but I think season 3 is just not quite as together as it could be, because
is that when the dad escapes from prison?
Yeah, because I think Fox wanted to get rid of them, and then they managed to get back for season 3, and then they got cut again, and so there's lots of in-jokes about them, the show getting cut, and it's like, so it is quite good, but I think season 1 it's just slightly better for me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I'll keep watching it. I will keep watching it.
Who do you think this sitcom is for, audience-wise, or like, in terms of our like summary of our review?
It's difficult because it is such a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag of cast. Like, you are going to enjoy one of these characters. Maybe you're going to be annoyed because one of the characters isn't on as much as the others. But I don't know. I kind of enjoyed them all, and I thought it's really hard to define. It's a joke which has inside jokes and outside jokes. The obvious jokes aren't funny enough to say this is purely worth it for the outside jokes. I think you do have to sort of pay attention a little bit and get the inside jokes a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you don't really like paying attention, you like canned laughter, this is not for you. This isn't really your show. But if you like some inside jokes, you like story twisting, if you like the idea of figuring something else out before you're told by a voiceover, which I found that in terms of like in terms of
Ron Howard.
No, in terms of like Jane the Virgin.
Yeah.
It just never allowed you to figure anything out.
Yeah, and what I like about the show is that what they always do at the end of each episode is they always do it on the next episode of Arrested Development, and then they give you a few funny things, and then I'm pretty sure they never actually pass.
Almost never.
Oh,
and
right.
that annoys me.
Oh, is
You
it?
either make it almost, you either make it never or always. You can't just do. You can't
Well,
because some things happen.
I thought it was
which,
never, but
no, because in the blind episode, Tobias does sneak into a house, and then she is actually, and he reveals that she's not blind at all.
Yeah, that is good though. But
that is good.
No, you are right. Yeah,
but I think that's one thing which annoyed me about
consistent.
the episode as well, because I'm thinking, okay, so that's just made up. Because I know this show now. That's just made up. That's not the joke.
Oh,
so
yeah.
actually, they are making a joke about blind people. And then the next episode, you find out she wasn't blind. Okay, well, I don't know where I stand here.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not bothered by that.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think I agree. I think if you're the kind of person who likes, canned laughter shows, Big Bang Theory, Friends, where it's like obvious what the setup is, it's obvious what the joke is. The episodes are fairly self-contained. You don't need to think too hard. This show's not for you.
No.
I think if you like some of the more subtle humour, if you like a bit of Master of None, high maintenance, situation comedies that are a little bit more offbeat, a bit more oddball, Curb Your Enthusiasm, maybe.
Yeah.
Also, so those kind of shows that it's situation comedy, but then they're not going to tell you when to laugh. They're just going to let you laugh or not laugh.
I think with them sort of shows, it's really important that you see fault in yourself. I think with Curb Your Enthusiasm, with this show, with Seinfeld and The Office, I know Seinfeld's a weird one.
Yeah, but I would bring that in.
I would say you need to be able to say, I've been that stupid before. I know how you're feeling because I've done something that stupid. You need to be able to value the fault in yourself in order to really appreciate the faults in these characters, because you need to be able to love them as well. And like they are idiots, but if you can see yourself in them, you can't hate them. And so I think you do need to have the maturity of actually seeing fault in yourself and really appreciating faults in other people. Yeah,
I think what's interesting about Arrested Development as well is those faults are always like just a little bit more extreme with these characters. Yeah. Like the Tobias Fugke, he says something that sounds rude. And we've all sort of done that without knowing that we're doing it, but he sort of does it all the time. And
To Catch a Predator, part of it, it's just like, I want my little girl to take my rocks off. And it's like how old is this little girl? Oh, I don't know, 30, 40.
I like that he's in denial about it.
Yeah,
as well. I just blew myself.
Yeah,
so. Yeah, and I think it's really clever, and it's a really clever show, and but you do, like you say, you do have to sort of think a little bit with it. You do have to like concentrate here and there. So
yeah, you get more out of it, and that's when you can. It's not about spoon feeding you jokes. It's about like just working it out. I never fully concentrated on all of it. Some of it was background, some of it was foreground. Sort of works as both, because it's all really, and the commentary does sort of help in that way as well, and help you draw your attention back. And
so it's not like you don't have to get every single joke, because the chances are that joke, if you don't get it the first time, it will come up again. Yeah, because you might have you've got it the third time that it's come up. Yeah, so there's a fifth, sixth, seventh time that you can enjoy that joke, and it doesn't matter that you've not got it the first three times. So it is quite good in that sense.
I did enjoy the George Michael. So I'm going back. George Michael and Michael Bluth punch. Yeah. The reason why I enjoyed it is because the first time you hit somebody, if you grew up in media, and you've seen all the punches in like in films and TV, and it's like, he goes down really easily, and then the first time you put somebody in real life is different. Life is completely different. It's sort of like
but it's also just the leading up to the event. That event is done really well as well. I just realised I didn't mention who my favourite character was. Okay, which I think is really, really, really difficult, but I do like George Michael. I think he's been a sort of favourite of mine from the start.
Yeah.
But it's really difficult because Tobias is like a popular choice. Buster's, they're all such good characters. Like, I think for a while Job was my favourite character, and then you sort of like start to think, well, do I relate to Michael quite a lot? Because you know, with you know, it just yeah, I mean they're just good characters. I think.
I love Job and Ben Stiller's storyline and how they pretended to be gay, but found love in each other anyway.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite ended up being quite sweet. It was quite manipulative at first, and quite silly.
Yeah.
But they actually treated her really well and really nicely in the end. And, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
I agree with that. I mean, there's just so much in here. There's like cameos, like we said, like in jokes, out jokes. I think for me, it's just like I don't know. It's quite a culturally prominent show, I think, now, and I think the power of it, the fact that you're getting filmmakers who are referencing this show in massive films like Marvel films.
So who's connected?
Just sort of shows.
You're not connected to this show, or were they just fans?
I think they're just fans. I think they just like putting in Easter egg type things.
Yeah.
So I think that's it.
Right.
But I wouldn't be surprised if David Cross pops up as a character at some point. I know Jason Bateman was an actual main character in that film with Will Smith where he plays a drunk.
Yeah, Hancock.
Yeah. But there's no sort of reference there. He's just a character. In it.
Yeah.
And Michael Cera was in Scott Pilgrim as well.
Yeah, so there's a couple of hints towards the superhero environment.
Yeah, so there's been a little bit, but in terms of reference, I think it's Civil War, Guardians of the Galaxy, and now Avengers as well that have put references to, like subtle references. So if you're a fan of Arrested Development and you're a fan of those films that I've just mentioned, maybe go back and watch them and see if you can spot the references, or just Google them.
Use that hour and a half just to
you know, like that's funny.
I had no idea.
It's an interesting thing though, because you know, like years ago, if somebody pointed something like that out, you had to kind of actually go and. So if somebody said, "Oh, you know, in this moment in Terminator," and you go, "No, I didn't know about that," and then you'd have to go off and actually watch it to see it. And now you just Google it.
Although I remember when
save a bit of time, I guess.
X-Men Last Stand came out. We went to the cinema. It was great, and we went out for a drink afterwards. Like I say drink, I was like a kid. Like went out for like a pop afterwards.
A Coca-Cola.
Yeah, and then trademark, just a generic cola beverage.
Yeah. Also, listeners, there are other Coca-Cola providers available.
Yes. Does Dr.
Soft
Pepper
drink? Well, it's made by Coke. So
is it made by Coke?
Everything's made by Coca-Cola. I was drinking some water in Ireland, and it was called like Rock something. I was like, oh, I wonder who made Coke. Coca-Cola. They make all the drinks. If they don't make a drink, then it's actually more interesting. Isn't it?
But anyway, we found out that they there was an after credit sequence. I think, no way. Like, what are you doing for us today? Oh, nothing really. So went to go see it again the same day.
Nice.
Like, I think it was a discount day, so I think tickets were like cheaper that day.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? Let's do this again.
That's when you know that film's for you.
I wish it was a better film. Looking back now, I'm thinking, why did I just see that twice in a day?
I don't know, because Vinnie Jones.
Possibly,
It's about like Vinnie Jones and the like Birdman.
Yeah,
it's about all I can remember. And the bridge. Was there a bridge that?
Yeah. They moved
was
the
it
bridge
the Golden Gate Bridge that?
And like Phoenix, there was a Phoenix film, the Phoenix Saga, and so Gene Clinton and Phoenix.
I'm
which
sure there's
might not be but now that Fox own Disney, the new.
You mean Disney own Fox?
Yeah. The New Mutants and the new X-Men film wasn't shown at Comic-Con at all.
Right.
It wasn't And so we don't know if
is that because it's going to change, or
we don't know if they're going to sweep them under the rug. The two films with New Mutants should have been in the can a year ago, but because of reshoots, I think they wanted to redesign the start of the film.
When you say the New Mutants, is that the name of the new film?
So there's two films coming out. There's an X-Men film, and then there's a film called The New Mutants.
Right.
And it's got the older brother out of Stranger Things in. Looked awesome. They released a trailer like a year ago.
Oh, right.
It looked awesome, and then it went into reshoots.
Oh, right.
And it got delayed by a year. Should already be out right now.
Oh, right. Okay.
But they delayed it till next year.
Oh, right.
But who knows if they're actually going to come out anymore? Because Mowgli, the new Jungle Book movie, that has been sold to Netflix. It's no longer going to come out in the cinema.
Right.
And that's like a huge blockbuster, which they aren't going to chance it anymore. And
yeah.
So
that's odd, because they just redid the Jungle Book not that long ago, didn't they?
So I think they got the right at the same time.
Right.
And so Andy Serkis did his one, Disney did their one.
Right.
Andy Serkis' one is a lot darker.
Is that the one that we've seen?
No, we've seen a lighter one. We've seen the
Disney one with the songs. Yeah.
And
I didn't. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of
that.
Yeah. Anyway, should we try and get back to TV?
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
So we're looking forward to. So I think we're pretty much done with the rest of the development, aren't we?
It's good. It's good. Good nosh. Good nosh. Yeah. Good. It's a good little. If it was food, dinner. It'll be
good nosh.
It'll be crisps. Okay, you can just chop them down. It's all great.
I like that we turn most things back around to films or food.
Yeah.
Like out of films and food. Yeah. Films with food.
Maybe that's go to cinema with food all the time.
That's on our next podcast, our spin-off podcast, Films with Food.
If I die, it should be black.
Films about food or food films. I don't know. There's something in there, I'm sure.
How I would imagine heaven. When I die, it's going to be black, and I'm going to squint, and when notice I'm in a cinema. And it's going to be unlimited food, unlimited films. Ooh, that's just going to be heaven.
Yeah. And then you discover there's no toilets.
Yeah. No insurance. But yeah, sorry, TV. And so I think overall this is good. We're going to continue watching it, hoping it ends with a high, and yeah.
Whereas I hope that it keeps going forever and ever.
I think it should stop. I think.
Yeah. That's fair enough. Like all good things should come to an end. Really.
I think especially with this linear story, because they've gone from kids to pretty much grown up within 5 seasons, but the story linear hasn't changed. I think you've got like a year to 2 years in between, but it's sort of like it just doesn't make any sense. And they got inside jokes about like, oh, he seems like he's like 14 to me, because that's how old the character should be in terms of like the season, the amount of time that's passed by.
Yeah.
But
anyway, they sort of make it work. Should we start to think about next podcast?
Yeah.
I would notice I didn't say next week because we're
gonna try.
We're trying to get that weekly release. But yeah.
But
so the next podcast, the next TV Strand podcast, we're going to look at
Glow.
Yes. Which is gorgeous ladies of wrestling, not glamorous.
Is it not glamorous? Is it gorgeous?
I think it's. We're going to have to look this up now. I've created so much confusion. I think it's gorgeous, and I accidentally kept calling it glamorous. So I've incepted into your brain, I think, that it's glamorous.
Glow, what stands for, gives out steady light without flame. What does Glow stand for? New Netflix show. Gorgeous. No, you're right. Gorgeous. Ladies of wrestling.
That's how I just incepted you there, James, with my incorrect naming of stuff. Any regular listeners of this podcast would probably know that I'm not very good with names, and I often get names of people and things wrong. So we agreed it's gorgeous ladies of wrestling.
They're all gorgeous in it as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
And
so
Katy Perry is in it from the first season, right?
No.
Is it not? Okay,
no,
cool.
You're getting the name wrong. It's not Katy Perry. It's a different musical artist.
And I got sick on my trainers. Kate Nash.
Yeah,
he's in the first season, right?
I'm saying yes.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah, because I heard an interview with her, and she said, "Oh, season 2's coming out soon." Thinking, "Oh, it'd be great to see her in this show." Then I started rewatching it for the next week's podcast. It's like, is that her?
Yeah, she's in it. She's in it. She plays the scientific. I can't remember the wrestler name that she has, but she's the science one.
Yeah.
So, just to be clear, I'm gonna try not to say too much because I've seen season 1 and season 2.
Yeah.
So I'm ahead of the game,
Yeah.
but I'm looking forward to talking about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and finish season 1 and try and watch season 2. But if not, feel free to talk everything about it. So.
Yeah, so we'll have a good chat about that in the next episode. So if you want to keep up with the TV strand, make sure you try and check out Glow or wait for our review and then see whether you think that it's a show for you or not.
Should we say what else is coming up now, or should we just...
No, I think we pretty much covered that on the mini-sode. So if anybody wants to know what we're going to be reviewing in the future, that's very... I'm being like the mum in Arrested Development now, aren't I? I'm being withholding. I should just say that after Glow, we're going to look at Goliath and Luke Cage. So those are the things in the pipeline. So again, if you want to keep up with the podcast, you want to see what we say about shows, but you don't want the spoilers, then... Yep, Glow first, then Goliath, then Luke Cage. Yeah. And then
I'm really looking forward to discussing Luke Cage. I did binge it this weekend.
Right, okay.
Very looking forward to it.
So I think I'm sort of trying to get through that. I mean, I think I'm three episodes in or something. Yeah. Goliath I'm all covered. So so you've got a bit of catching up to do. I've got a bit of catching up to do. But hopefully we'll get to the same. Yes. Yeah. Well put, James. Yeah.
Well, okay. We should leave you to this. Remember to wear sunscreen. Sunscreen. Yeah.
Like is it Baz Luhrmann song? Do you not remember that? No. Wear sunscreen.
No, I knew you tried to sing then as well. So I'm trying to.
No, that's the song. He just talks the whole thing. Okay, he just. Whoa. Yeah. Maybe he's in the room. Yeah. Just, no. Yeah. He just talks the whole song.
I don't know.
If I have one tip for the future, this would be it. Wear sunscreen.
I know.
It's like a one-hit wonder from like the 90s. So it's quite obscure reference there.
I can't remember what a celebrity. Oh, Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman got a sort of weakened form of skin cancer, which is completely preventable by wearing sunscreen.
All right. So the summary is wear sunscreen.
Wear sunscreen. Enjoy your pints in pub gardens.
And if you want a song about sunscreen, check out that song that I'm talking about.
Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
All right. It's been lovely to have you here listening. We know every single person is listening, and we respect you dramatically. Yes. Yeah. And so keep listening.
Yeah. Keep listening.
We'll get on a more regular basis soon.
Yep.
And thank you for
standing by us. And spread the word as well. Yeah. Tell people. If you like the podcast, tell people. Word of mouth. I think that's the best form of advertising.
Monthly roundup, no spoilers. So if you want to just check out our personalities, see if you like the way we talk, and then look at mini-sodes and see if you like it.
I feel like we should get on Instagram at some point.
Yeah, it's about taking pictures though, and it's like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then...
I rarely take pictures.
Maybe we need to work on that. Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not on Instagram, but we are on Twitter, Facebook,
YouTube, and if you subscribe to them, very soon you'll be rewarded with
something.
Stuff.
Yeah. free something. Screen views.
Yeah. Where else can you get free stuff on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube?
I was gonna say, you could get a T-shirt, but then that wouldn't be cost effective. We wouldn't be able to give that out for free.
But feel free to buy a T-shirt.
You get pride,
and
you get pride that you are part of a cult podcast that is gonna get really big, like Arrested Development, and you'll be there at ground level.
And then we'll have to organise podcasts where you'll be filming your half, I'll be filming my half separately, and we'll have to together.
But it'll still be good.
Yeah. I'll be the 4th season.
Yeah.
We're not talking about season. I don't know if
we're on season 1.
Yeah, we're on season 1. We'll
get to 100 episodes, and then we'll think maybe season 2.
Yeah, or at the end of the year, Christmas time.
Yeah, we could.
Maybe
We could,
season
call
2,
it season 2 after Christmas.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Or we could go for a year, and then because we started in May, didn't we? Yeah,
Look forward to Christmas. We are probably going to be doing some classics.
Are we? Okay.
Yeah, I thought that's. We're going to do like a mini.
I know we were going to do a Christmas podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, Halloween.
We'll do
as well.
some sort of special.
We will definitely be watching a horror on the Halloween.
We'll do a
special.
horror.
Yeah.
I'll try and watch a horror.
Yeah. It'll be good.
I think this is going to win the award for the longest sign-off ever as well, by the way.
Yes. Oh, no, I'm pretty sure we've got a different one, which is Outpieces.
Yeah, we're pretty good at long sign-offs.
I'll extend the music, so it feels like, so there's lots of music over there.
On for ages.
Anyway, we'll bid good night, and see you later, and stay safe.
Yes.
Okay? All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.